Testing. Word.
Hey guys, we're in the process of packing for another Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida trip. And I've had questions about what kind of equipment we actually use and how much do I carry with us in the parks. So I thought, well, this would actually be a good time since I'm in the process of packing anyhow, although maybe that's not the best time to do it when you're supposed to be packing.
Duh.
But to go ahead and do a video of exactly what it is that we take, or at least pieces of this. My main camera that I use is the Sony ZV-1. Right now I have that on my tripod, so it's not in the picture. I have it on the thumbnail, but that's the one that I use for the most part because that one tends to be maybe the most forgiving in a lot of ways. The coloring is phenomenal. You don't have to do a whole lot of editing in order to get the color corrected. Whereas GoPro, a lot of times, in my mind, it needs correction, especially if you're not outside. GoPro is incredible for outdoor action with that hyper smooth. There's really nothing that compares to that. However, if you go inside or you're in a semi-dark to dark space, it's worthless. Whereas the Sony ZV-1 will actually give you the ability to record inside without a bunch of additional lighting. So everything looks incredible. But let me go ahead and kind of give you a rundown of some of the stuff that I actually carry with me. So it's important to have organization because quite honestly, when you're packing, you really don't have a whole lot of room in your suitcase. I would not put this in your suitcase. I always put this in my backpack so that it is with me and underneath the seat in front of me. It never leaves my sight. You put something in a suitcase and they decide that the overhead bins have too much and they're going to go ahead and put your suitcase underneath with everything else and they're throwing it around and somebody's massaging and fondling stuff that's inside of your suitcase and then voila, stuff disappears. No. So this goes with me in my backpack and I actually slip it underneath the seat in front of me and then it's always on me. But these are the things that I do personally. So I've got a couple different containers that I use. I've got this one here is for the Sony ZV-1. This one here is for the two GoPros. I have a GoPro Hero 7 Black and this particular handle is actually, it's a battery pack. So you can charge up the handle and when your batteries run low, you've got a spare battery pack right here. It's a little bit heavier. To me, it's a little bit more cumbersome. I'm not the biggest fan of using this one, although I think most people would probably prefer this. Personally, I don't just because it has a little bit of weight to it. So the one that I prefer to use, this is the GoPro Hero 10 Black that I just got this year, the week that it came out. It also has the hyper smooth. It's a little bit better in the low light situation, so you can go indoors with it, although I still find that you're doing editing to try to get the color and the lighting correct. Real pain in the butt for indoors. For outdoors, it's amazing. I still don't necessarily have all the settings the way that I really would like to have. The GoPro Hero 7 Black, I had it long enough that I had all the settings exactly the way I wanted it. And so I really don't have to do anything other than turn it on. So for outdoors, it's amazing. This one has so many different capabilities that I haven't really taken the time to learn this one as much. The handle that I have for this one, because the GoPros are waterproof, this one's actually a floaty handle. So you can put something inside of the handle if you want. I never do. But it gives you that ability if you need to carry something with you. But for me, this one, the handle is super lightweight, and when we go down to the pool, it's already ready to hop into the water. So I like that. Then, of course, with GoPros, with any camera, your batteries are going to go dead quickly. And for vlogging purposes, sometimes you leave the resort hotel and you might be gone for hours and hours and hours or all day. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of batteries. And of course, the GoPro Hero 7 Black versus the GoPro 10 Hero Black, they have different size batteries. Good one, GoPro. Good way to sell equipment all over again. So thank you for that. So I always carry several of the batteries for each camera, and I have some aftermarket batteries as well. I don't care for them as much as I like the name brand because the name brand batteries do last longer. I do not find that the aftermarket batteries last as long, but if I'm running out of the GoPro ones, it's nice to have those cheap ones as extra. They don't cost near as much, And a lot of times they come with a charger if you buy them online, maybe like on eBay or Amazon or something like that. They'll come with the chargers. So I carry plenty of chargers. These are my chargers for the GoPro. And of course I can charge 5 batteries at a time. I think I had another one beyond that and it died. So, and then for the Sony ZV-1, I've got a couple different battery chargers for that as well. So I can charge 6 batteries at a time. Now, I always carry extra ends with me because guaranteed the resorts that you're staying in, they might have some USB outlets, but when you've got this much, you just want to make sure you've got some extra ends. That way you don't have to care how many outlets they have for USBs. So now, as far as the Sony, you can tell which camera I use more. These are batteries for the Sony. I carry them in these little plastic bags because you don't know if it's going to rain on you, if you're going to get on a water ride. I want to make sure that my batteries are safe. And in fact, don't forget to carry a gallon Ziploc for your cameras to go in. If you're carrying a GoPro, who cares? They can handle the water. But anything for the Sony, it cannot. So if it starts sprinkling, that Sony's going in a gallon Ziploc and I'm putting it away so that it's safe. But I've got a ton of batteries for the Sony. The battery cases that all of the batteries came in, I actually keep these cases because these are incredibly handy to put your SD cards in. I stack them in here, the ones that have not been used. They will be stacked in here and I carry a lot of them. In my mind, organizing all of the SD cards when you get back, if you've been gone for more than a day, you could end up with a stack of these and trying to figure it out later on, pain in the ass. So the best way to do it is I keep a stack for just the Sony and a stack for the GoPro cameras. And this is how I organize them. But then this right here, this is maybe one of the most genius things that I've come up with for trying to keep things organized. If I'm gone for a week or 2 weeks, imagine how many SD cards you go through in that period of time. Generally, I buy the bigger SD cards anyhow. I'm not going to use anything that's smaller than a 64. But even so, I still want a separate one for every single day because it makes it really easy when you go to organize your files on your computer once you get home to organize it according to day. And I might say this particular day, Universal Studios, Toothsome Restaurant, Confisco's. Just wherever it is that you went that day, you can kind of put that on your computer file and it just makes it really easy. But this right here, this is not for SD cards, but it is probably the best thing that I've come up with. And all it is it's like a credit card or a picture holder. Every single day I put a piece of tape there and with the date and say this particular park. And then the next day, and then the next day. And I will do that for every single day. And then when we get back to the resort hotel, I will take the SD card out of the cameras and put them in the proper slot and then put them in the safe. And that way then I know that I don't take a chance on possibly misplacing, losing, or damaging one of those cards. This is an amazing organizer. To me, this is maybe one of my favorite little nothing kind of things that I've done because it made my life way easier when I got back. The first time I did it, I thought this might be good. When I got home, I was like, frickin' genius. Yes, that one's awesome. Now, another thing to keep things organized, I don't know how many people actually use these SSD cards. These are external storage systems. And I've got a couple of the 2 terabyte, I've got a couple of the 1 terabyte. These are maybe the best thing since peanut butter and jelly. This is a SanDisk. This one here is a 2 terabyte. And of course on the back, I will usually write Universal Studios and put the dates on it because I'm probably not going to mix and match these. I have a big 8 terabyte storage tower that I use, but it's not fast like this. This is fast, this is convenient, this I can throw it in a bag, I can carry it with my laptop, I can put it in my computer that I have at my desk. It doesn't matter. This thing is so portable I can pop it in my pocket if I want. I do not take these to the parks. But this is an amazing organizing tool because you can put everything on here and you can store a lot with a 2 terabyte card. The 1 terabyte cards, I think they probably run somewhere around $140 if you get a really, really incredible deal. I've paid more than that for sure for them. And then the 2 terabyte, I've paid if I get an incredible deal, it's probably somewhere around $250, but it's generally more than that. But they are coming down in price now that they've become a lot more popular and they're a lot more readily available. But SanDisk Ssd cards, if you don't have one, get one. Amazing. It's affordable storage system and it stores a lot. Obviously, when I started, I was doing 1080 videos and you can store a ton of information on those. But now everything is 4K, 5K, and so that's obviously not going to hold near as much. And at the same time, it will still hold a lot of information on it. So for the price, that's an incredible, easy to carry option, and I wouldn't want to be without them now. I've got quite a few. So carry lots of batteries. Of course, this is the battery storage system that's on this handle. And then several tripods. I've got multiple tripods that I carry with me. I don't often use the tripods because I don't really like to set my camera down and turn my head for a second. I've also got a couple different gimbals. The Zhiyun, I think is the correct pronunciation. But this one here is the Crane M2, and it works great for the Sony ZV-1 camera. It'll also work great for a cell phone. You don't need to have thousands of dollars of equipment. Today's cell phones are pretty phenomenal and you can get amazing footage. Some of the cell phones are actually better than some of the cameras nowadays because they have such great low light capabilities and they've got stabilization built in. They're pretty amazing. So all of this, you don't really need that. If you want to actually vlog on your cell phone, do it because they're incredible. Or you could even use the gimbal if you wanted to hook your cell phone up to that. A lot of the really new cell phones have the built-in stabilization, so that's not even necessary. Personally, I have two different gimbals, and I can honestly tell you I have almost not used them at all. The GoPros, they have built-in stabilization with the Hypersmooth. The Sony ZV-1 has stabilization. I put it in active stabilization, but it's still not phenomenal. If you're carrying it and you're talking to the camera, it does a pretty decent job keeping you stable. The background still is a little bit wishy-washy. If you're just standing there and talking, it's great. I do like the stabilization on the Sony to a point, and then it's somewhat worthless, quite honestly. Lots and lots of cables. Good golly, do you have to have a lot of cables. And I also carry, because this right here, when you are vlogging, since my Sony is up on the tripod, my handle is actually reading the Sony, and that's why it's lit up. But I can actually use this portable. I can click on and off the record button or take photos or whatever when it's not even on the camera because it's reading it. But this handle, this is the vlogging handle for the Sony ZV-1. And I'm going to put links in the description for the Sony ZV-1, for these SSD cards. There's a lot of great information. I want to go ahead and put those links in the description. So if you want to actually look up the specs and look and see what to expect with these pieces of equipment, I've got some links that you can go to and it'll actually give you price. You can purchase from there, everything, and amazing. But the vlogging kit for the Sony ZV-1, I bought everything together. That was maybe one of the best things I've done. This is pretty handy because literally when the camera's on here, I can be talking to it and just click, click, and it's on, off, whatever I need to do. This is a pretty amazing piece of equipment. And the kit came with, this is a dead cat that you can use on top of the Sony ZV-1. Right now I have a different dead cat plugged into my Sony ZV-1, but this is the one that actually comes with the camera and it attaches to the top. It does a decent job. I wouldn't say it does a phenomenal job, but it definitely will help a bunch. Zerg says hello. He's a good baby. He's mommy's angel. The microphone that I have on the side of the ZV-1 right now that has a dead cat on it is an Editage EMT001, and it does a pretty incredible job. If you are in a really, really windy situation, dead cats, it's going to be difficult for a lot of them to drown out that wind noise. But this one does a pretty good job. I use it probably more often than I use the one that comes with the Sony. I think it does a better job than the one that comes with the Sony. Now, with this Sony handle, I made the mistake one time of making a trip and did not have a spare battery for the handle. Carry a spare battery for your handle because damn. That was very frustrating to be on an entire trip and I had to stop and click and click. That makes for a lot of editing after the fact. So it doesn't cost much to carry a spare battery. Do that for yourself. It might just save you. And then also, because when you're carrying a lot of batteries with you and you've used quite a few, you can't remember, what did I use, what did I not use? So I carry a bag with me that says used. As simplistic as that is life changing. If you've got 8 batteries that's all used and you've got a few batteries in your pocket and you're going, which one is the right one to use? This is a life changer. It will save your sanity. The SSD cards I leave at home. I do carry way too many SD cards and micro SD cards and adapters. That way that I make sure if I have a problem with one, I've got many. And also if I know it's going to be a day where I'm going to do a lot of recording, I want a bigger SD card. But I carry everything in these containers, and believe me, I can pack stuff super tight, except for the cameras, obviously. The cameras do not go in the containers, but all of the cords, the chargers, and the batteries all go into these containers. It's easy to keep it organized. It goes in my backpack and it slips under the seat. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the SD cards that I carry with me. I've got multiple brands that I carry. I carry the SanDisk, the On, and the PNY. I don't know that I necessarily like one better than the other, but I can tell you, with the exception of, for the Sony ZV-1, definitely purchase a few of the Sony SD cards. This one has a special back, so when you are doing slow motion, this camera will do slow motion like nothing. I mean, it's phenomenal, super high quality. You can see the difference of the back. There's a difference in the back. The read-write speed on the Sony is way higher than any of the regular SD cards. It will let you shoot up to 960 frames per second. If you purchase the Sony ZV-1, waste a little extra money and get those Sony SD cards, because it is not a waste of money. Sometimes cheaper is not necessarily better, and on the Sony, because of the capabilities of that camera, make sure you have some of the Sony brand SD cards also. I use the regular SD cards in there. I don't do a tremendous amount of slow-mo, but if you want something that's super, super high quality, buy some of those Sony SD cards, because it is well worth it. So the final thing that I have is this little adapter right here. This works for the editage microphone so that I can actually put it on the GoPro. And it just pops right there in the end, but it will plug into the side of the GoPro, and that way then I've got an external mic for the GoPro. This is pretty amazing. It does an incredible job. You can really tell a huge difference in the quality of the sound by using that. But that I typically don't carry with me unless I know I'm going to be doing certain things, because you do have to have a special adapter for the GoPro in order to slip that in. In order to use this special adapter, you also need a special case for the GoPro. So you can kind of slip that in there like that, hook it up to your GoPro. I particularly don't like using this case only because it's not easy access on and off when I'm changing batteries. And those of you who have used a GoPro knows you go through quite a bit. If you're doing a lot of recording in a day, you'll go through quite a bit of battery. So for this, if I am doing something around home or something that doesn't involve the park, I probably will use this. But for park purposes, when you're always on the go and it's super fast, high speed, everything, you need to hurry up, this is a little bit of a pain in the ass. So just keep that in mind. Well, hopefully this information has been helpful to you, and maybe I've actually tapped into some information about products that you're not familiar with. And if you're not familiar with it, go ahead and do a little bit of research. I will go ahead and put some of the links in the description so that you can check those out. Let me know if you do have the Sony ZV-1, if you do use the SSD cards, and what your opinion is about those. That to me, I think, is life-changing. It's so much easier than the old-fashioned pain in the butt way. And it prevents everything from clogging up your computer really fast. I can keep everything super organized. My computer has almost nothing on it, so it doesn't slow me down when I'm doing editing. I love this method. Hopefully I've given you some great ideas on how to speed up the process and maybe do vlogging yourself. If you are new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe and ring bell notifications so you don't miss out on the latest and greatest. Also, please don't forget to check out some of our other great videos we have on the parks, the rides, resorts, resort rooms, Skyliner rides, day trips, car shows, outdoor pizza oven videos, Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and Disney World. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.